Okay, today's Tuesday, March 28th. We're going to look at a few things here today, but we're going to start with the Bitcoin chart. So this is Bitcoin right now with a couple of trends identified, and I'm going to talk about a few things. So we've had a few uptrends, and then as soon as it breaks that trend, it's going down pretty hard. So we'll see if we get a third version of that. You know, it may be in that area, but the things that Bitcoin has going for it is one, the relative strength index up here is pretty high. So this means that this trend isn't really wearing out yet. There's a little bit of a divergence where this is just starting to come down, but if this starts to head down, then you would think that this is starting to lose its steam. But right now it's pegged at the max. It doesn't normally last, really long time, but for right now it looks still good. Another thing that can pull the price up or act as resistance is it's coming up to the Ichimoku cloud. So this could be resistance, and then if it gets into the cloud, that could be bullish. So this point right here around 1080 is pretty key. Another thing that it's got going for it is this is basically part of the Ichimoku cloud, and this is the fast moving indicator, and the fast moving indicator is coming up to touch the slow indicator. So that's called a TK cross. If that TK cross happens, that's another bullish signal for Bitcoin. So, it's had a really great run from 900 up to 1,057. You'd start to think, oh, it's going to be tired. It's going to have a correction. But it's on a trend line. It's got momentum in two places. It's coming up to touch the cloud here. That's going to be key around 1080. And then whatever it does from there, we'll see what happens. This is also starting to come up the cloud in the future. So if this continues to trend up and we get a twist, that's another bullish signal for Bitcoin. Now we're going to zoom way, way out and take a look at a chart I created a couple months ago. And on this chart, I noticed there's a GAN fan and a couple of trend lines that Bitcoin was staying inside of. It would come up to this trend line and then have some corrections, and then it would come down to this trend line, and that would be your buying opportunity. So I called back 2 months ago that Bitcoin was right up on the trend line at 1057. And based on the past, I said it was going to go up and then come back down to the box. So let's press the play button and see what actually happened. So what actually happened is it did go up a little bit further than I expected, and it came right back down to the box. So a sell here and a buy here. I didn't do that, but that would have been really, really great. And now we're kind of in between again. Now we're right back at the point we were when I created this chart, and we're still pretty close to the higher levels. So we could retrace up to 1100, but I think we're going to pause there. Just there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of historical information on that trend line, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But I'm pretty proud I called this. I'm kind of sad I didn't trade it that way, but this is something that did play out. Let's take a look at Monero. So I said Monero, this was a tricky one. I called right here when it was hitting this line that it had the chance of a breakdown. It fought the good fight here for a while, and then it broke down, and now it's still breaking down. Right now what it's doing is it's bouncing between two Fibonacci levels. Came right down here and touched the 382, and then it bounced back up to the 0.5, and now it's just going in between. It's indecisive, and it's going to figure it out. I still think it's going to come down to $14. That's where I think Monero's headed eventually. But long term, I think it's a good buy. If it gets down here, I'll probably buy some more. I hold a small position long term. I think Monero's one of the good altcoins. So let's take a look at Dash. So Dash, I have this arrow here. This arrow was the point to short. And I missed that opportunity. I've been wanting to short Dash. I think it's a bubble. But I didn't do it. So I wasn't in front of my computer when this happened. I didn't have any alerts set. I missed the opportunity. And so what happened was I opened up my computer when Dash was right around here. And I thought, well, look, it's going to bounce off of the bottom of the cloud. That's going to act as resistance. And it's on this GAN fan line that I drew a long time ago. You think you can see this line's pretty faint. but the GAN fan and the cloud were both crossing at the same place. And I thought, all right, if it gets down below that, then if it breaks it, then it can keep falling. But if this is a good chance to act as support. So I'm going to just admit that I was in a rush. I wanted to open a position. I don't like Dash. I thought it was going to crash. So I opened a short with a pretty tight stop at 75. And I got stopped out like the next candle. And I'm okay with it. But here's what I learned is, I didn't wait for it to break down enough. It really needed to get down to like 72 or 71 even to confirm breaking the cloud and breaking this trend. There's just too much resistance here. And yeah, it went below it, but it bounced, snapped back up. Now it's going back green and momentum's turning in its favor. So I'm staying out of Dash. It's just, it's got too many things in its favor on the chart, and it's just not worth shorting. So that's where that's at. Then let's take a look at Snapchat. So Snapchat it's not a cryptocurrency, but it's a stock that I've been playing and talking about. And I got in relatively late, actually. I got in like here-ish, somewhere in here, and it had this giant run. I moved my stops last night before I went to bed, and they got stopped out today. And I was really greedy. I was really greedy with my stops, so I got stopped out for a pretty minimal profit, like 10, 15%, and I was sitting on much, much more. So, I should have, when I went to bed, had those stops be something that would give me the nice profit, because I could have rebought. So I did rebuy down around about 2270, I think, and it said 2290. So I got stopped out, rebought, and we'll see how this goes. So that's what's going on with Snap. It could be really choppy. It could actually punch down again, but I think that it's in good shape to go further north. Again, it's got a TK cross here. It's not been public very long, so it doesn't have a lot of history. But short term is cross long term. This downtrend, these big red candles are happening when the relative strength is coming down. So that means that it's more than likely going to reverse. Basically, this selling is getting tired. So it'll get exhausted down here. The selling will stop, and then it'll start to turn back up, and it'll start to go green. And this is the beginning of the cloud, but it still hasn't been public long enough to get enough data to draw the cloud. So there's some good things on this chart for Snap, and that's what I'm thinking. The last thing I want to talk about is just the absolute insanity of the altcoins. If you take a look over here, there was an altcoin that was up 3,000% yesterday. So, it's a little frustrating because you see these, 3,000% moves, and it's like you want that to be you, or how can I position myself? And I just, I don't think it's worth the time and effort to try and chase it. Now, look, you could get lucky, but these are all pump and dumps. There are websites out there that are dedicated to pumping these coins, and it's just old school market manipulation. Is my opinion. So, you could look at these rapid gains will show up on the chart. My best advice is just ignore them. Play the longer term. You're going to get in and out and get burned. Unless you subscribe to one of those sites, you could do that. I don't do it. Okay, so I had to actually edit this clip and add a little piece to the end. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin and Monero and a few of the Dash, Snapchat. Guys, leave me a comment. I love getting comments, and subscribe. Let me know what you wanted me to do next. I'm going to do a video on hardware wallet here shortly, and I got a few other ideas, not just charts and talking. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.